What's up, Sooner Nation, and welcome to another edition of the WhackoWeekly Podcast, where we go over all things OU football from this previous week. I'm Steve Curtis, the voice behind Wacko Sooners. And tell you what, we do have some unfortunate news this past week with regards to Owen Heinecke. But on more positive notes, the 10 Sooners that were invited to the NFL Scouting Combine, they showed out really well over the weekend. Great performances from everyone. And of course, and most importantly for the future, this staff is building up some serious momentum on the recruiting trail. We're going to break it all down right here on Wacko Sooners. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the Wacko Loop. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell button so you never miss an episode. Plus, you can follow us on all of our socials, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, all at Wacko Sooners for live news updates, some game highlights, and of course, some memes to keep it lighthearted and fun like we like it here in Sooner Nation. Go hit those follows so you're always in the Wacko Loop. We would love to have you. So first things first, as we found out Tuesday of last week, Owen Heinecke is not coming home. He was denied his second petition to the NCAA for an extra year of eligibility. And it's the situation, to me at least, is honestly laughable. I understand some of the reasoning. I don't understand the lack of consistency set by precedent that's sitting out there with other players who are getting their 7th or 8th year of collegiate football eligibility. Now, for a refresher for everyone, Owen Heinecke's timeline in college athletics: graduated high school, went to Ohio State in 2021 for lacrosse, played in a total of 3 games for a grand whopping total of 15 minutes. Then transfers to Oklahoma as a regular student and is a walk-on with the football program for the 2022 season. Missed the entire season due to a knee injury that required surgery and a long-term recovery, and operated under the assumption after that year in 2022 was going to be counted as a medical hardship, which it technically was. He was granted a red shirt, but it wasn't specifically listed as a medical one. So instead, his whole timeline says, 2022 he wore a red shirt, not a medical red shirt. Then 2023, he played in 13 games for Oklahoma, primarily on the special teams. Had, I think, 4 total tackles at linebacker that year. And very obviously and easily became the number 1 guy on special teams, was your special teams dog. 2024, same deal. Monster on special teams. Logged 7 tackles on the defense. And, of course, as we're all familiar by now with the stories of him jumping line in practice to get more reps, jump in front of his teammates, making Brent Venables absolutely livid. And then 2025, he cracks the 2 deep. He's in a rotational position with Kobe McKenzie, particularly there at middle linebacker, and played with relentless intensity, physicality. Like he earned his snaps more as the season progressed, obviously, as this staff has shown time and again. If you're the best player for the position and you work hard and you do your job, you're going to play. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, how old you are. If you're a true freshman and you're the best linebacker in the room, you're going to start. And Owen Heinecke, as a walk-on, earned his spot. And then, of course, dislocated his thumb versus Auburn in week 4, received treatment mid-game, came right back into it. And then in week 8, linebackers coach Nate Dreiling asked him about the whole medical hardship thing. Like, what's the deal with that? What's going on? And Owen thought that it was already clearly 2022 was a medical hardship red shirt, and that they were going to have to think about 2021 being classified as a red shirt, but didn't really worry about it. Then it was, I think, after week 10, where the Sooners went to Tennessee, to Knoxville, Rocky Top, where he actually had his first career start after taking over for Kobe McKenzie the week before versus Ole Miss at home, where Kobe had a groin injury. Owen came in as the starting middle linebacker, had 12 tackles and the forced fumble that led to R. Mason Thomas's scoop and score there in the first half. And it was an absolute dog in that game. And he did not give up the starting position at all the rest of the way. Was the starting middle linebacker 2 weeks later against Alabama, then against Missouri, then against LSU, and even against Alabama again in the playoffs. Owen Heinecke was the starting middle linebacker the rest of the way. And he finished the season with a grand total of 74 tackles, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, and 4 pass deflections or beat downs, depending on what you want to address them as. But in short, this guy's been a stud. Yeah, he only really showed up on the defense in 2025. But the 2 years before that, he was a dog on special teams and doing what he could to crack into the rotation. And when he did, he made the most of every opportunity he had. And then, of course, we all know the whole deal with the NCAA suit and the appeals, or the suit process that he's not going to pursue, it appears, and the eligibility issues that come with it. Because ultimately, the NCAA denied his first appeal. He filed a secondary petition saying, hey, think about this again. They still said no. To giving a guy his fifth, like a traditional red shirt. Because here's the deal. The rule in football for a guy that wants to wear a red shirt, you cannot play in more than 4 games out of 12. He played. Now, I understand that lacrosse does not have the standard red shirt rule that football does. And this is more an emotional appeal than a legal one, really. Do the right thing as opposed to, like, ultimately speaking, by the letter of the law, he's out of eligibility and should be done and should not be granted another year. But here's the thing. To me, like, not refusing to reconcile those 3 games of lacrosse. Let me put it this way. We've all been young, right? And made choices about our future, like where to go to college or what jobs we're going to take, that we think at the time are probably the better call and the better thing for us and the right path. And we find out later down the line, yeah, that's not it. I need to change. I, from personal experience, started at the University of Oklahoma, loved it, still loved it to this day. Obviously, why else am I here talking about all this? But wasn't the best fit for me academically, collegiately speaking, so I ended up moving to Baylor. Never been happier for it, and I still love OU football. But Owen Heinecke had the same kind of deal with going from lacrosse to football. Because remember, he was a 0-star football recruit out of high school, no offers, and decided, let's see what I can do with lacrosse. Didn't work out. And he's like, you know what? I'm still going to go try and play for the team I love with no guarantees. He did it. He paid his dues. He did his best. And he's had technically 3 years to play 3 seasons. When the standard rule, because remember, 2023 is the year he had the knee injury. So the standard rule being 5 years to play 4 seasons, give him a 4th year of football to play a 4th season. Because remember, a lacrosse season has 13 games, not 12, 13. Football has 12 games, lacrosse has 13. So he played a marginally smaller proportion of the lacrosse season than he would have played a football season. And what really gets me going here is that we are seeing so many athletes being granted extra eligibility left and right. Because you've got Miami linebacker Mohamed Tour I don't know how to pronounce that last name, so my apologies. But he's been granted his 8th year of collegiate eligibility. Diego Pavia received a total of 6 years after his first 2 years being at JUCO. Trinidad Chambliss got an extra year for 2 reasons. One that's slightly more legit than the other. One is that he said he had tonsillitis during one of the seasons and was not able to perform his best. And having been a former tonsillitis patient, I can say it messes with you a lot, but no, that's not enough of a reason to say you can't play quarterback well enough. No. And then, of course, Ole Miss also went and found a judge that graduated from Ole Miss and basically bribed him to give Trinidad Chambliss an extra year. Georgia State quarterback TJ Finley is going to his 7th school in as many seasons. Chandler Morris is suing for a 7th year. Owen Heinecke is asking for a 6th. When really it should have been red shirt, medical red shirt, 4 years of football after that. It just, the lack of consistency does not make a lot of sense to me. Does not make tons of sense. It's a little ridiculous. Personally, I do also understand, given that lacrosse does not have that red shirt rule, why there's a discussion around that. He chose to play lacrosse, not football. Legally speaking, he should not be able to have another year of eligibility, but this is back to that whole emotional appeal as opposed to a legal argument. Kid was trying to figure out his place in the world and trying to figure out where he fit best and what he needed to do with his life. And thought lacrosse was the path, ended up not being the path, chose football, and football has worked out better for him, and it's what he wants to do. It's what he loves. So be consistent is my biggest argument to the NCAA. It's freaking ridiculous. It makes me so mad. Like, I've been so mad about this since he was initially denied back at the end of January. So about a month ago. I've been so mad about all of it the entire time that I can't even kick, yell, scream about it right now anymore. Like, it's all gone. It's just ridiculous. Abolish the NCAA, bring in Nick Saban or Josh Pate to be the college football commissioner and rectify the situation. I'm still holding out hope that somehow, some way, the Heineckes will be able to put themselves in a position where they could fight this legally. I think they could, and they would win. But from what I've gathered, it won't be in the cards right now. And luckily, Owen performed very well at the Combine over the weekend. So that's a pretty solid fallback option. He performed really well. He will be just fine in the NFL. Absolutely. So of all the possible fallback options to not being able to play another year in college football, going to the NFL is not a bad idea. That's not a bad outcome from all this. So much love to Owen and his family. Wish it worked out differently. We love the Heinecke clan. Love you all to death. So that being said, talking about Owen's Combine performance a little bit, let's actually dive into these performances from over this weekend. A lot to be excited about. So Oklahoma had 10 guys invited to the NFL Combine, which played out Thursday through Sunday over the weekend. And they all did pretty dang well. And if there's one word to describe this group, it's fast. Fast, 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 I say. Now, there were a couple other guys that are planning on moving up to the next level that did not participate in the Combine. They were not invited, but they will be participating at OU's Pro Day next Thursday, March 12th. In Kip Lewis, even though he's staying for 2026. Then place kicker Austin Welch, right tackle Derek Simmons, and then Mr. Running Back No Block Jaden Ott will also be participating at Pro Day next Thursday. Now, of course, every Sooner that went to the Combine did not participate in every drill either, so expect them to participate on Pro Day here in about 2 weeks as well, just to get a little bit more preparation. But on that, let's dive into these Combine performances, like, please, because a lot of these were exciting. And you know what? We're actually going to start with the best one. Gracen Halton. I love you, man. You beautiful monstrosity of a defensive tackle at 6'3", 293. He ran a 4.82 on his 40-yard dash, third amongst defensive tackles. A 10-yard split of 1.7, fifth among defensive tackles. His vert was 36.5, first among defensive tackles. His broad jump was 9 foot 6 inches, third amongst defensive tackles. His three cone was an 8.09, which was fourth amongst defensive tackles. And his 20-yard shuttle was a 4.79, which was fourth among defensive tackles. Again, this is the most athletic defensive tackle in the draft. This man is a freak. He is a freak, I say. I remember when Gracen Halton was recruited out of high school in the 2022 cycle. And everyone said he's too slight. He's not going to be big enough. He's tall enough, but he couldn't get over that 300-pound mark. And everyone's saying he's going to be too small. He's not going to be able to do anything. Blah, blah, blah. He's not going to be any good. This kid has been one of the most aggressive, productive, destructive, disruptive defensive tackles in the SEC the last 2 seasons. G, baby, you are fantastic, buddy. You proved all the haters wrong. You showed out. Not only are you a monster in the trenches when you're playing the game, you are an athletic mastermind. You are a freak, my guy. I love you, Gracen Halton. I love you, G, baby. My projection here after his performance, he's not going to fall to the third round. He will go, my guess is probably early second. That's my guess. But that was just amazing. Good job. Good job, Gracen. Moving on to our other defensive tackle in the Combine, Dominic Williams at 6'2", 305. So from what I've gathered, he only participated in the bench pressing. And will participate more at OU's Pro Day next Thursday, March 12th. So Dom had 30 reps on the bench press. That was second amongst defensive tackles, which makes sense. Kid is freakishly strong, absolutely huge. So that makes sense why that was something he wanted to get out there, put his strength up. As for where he goes in the draft, I could see late rounds at best case, not because he's not good, just because he is not the best of the best. He's great at what he does, but he's not all around a fantastic defensive tackle. He's great experience to have, great size, great strength. I could see undrafted free agency with the information I have right now. Give me 2 weeks and I'll formulate a different opinion probably. Then moving on to Marvin Jones Jr. at defensive end. So Marvin Jones is 6'5", he's 245, and he participated a little bit. His shuffles and his other drills were great as well, but was not stellar compared to the rest of the defensive end competition. His 40 was a 4.69, and his 10-yard split was a 1.65. Again, expect more at Pro Day. Same thing is going to be said for R. Mason Thomas. As we know, our MT is 6'2", 241. I love what he was pulling the other day about the force equation, because it's what force equals mass times acceleration, and I need to generate more acceleration to create more force because I'm not a 260 guy. I'm a lighter guy. That kid is going to go high. But we'll talk about his numbers here from the combine. Then we'll talk a bit more about that. So his 40 was a 4.67, and his split was a 1.63. And those were the only things he participated in. The 40 was the only thing he did at the combine, I believe. Again, expect more at Pro Day, which makes sense because pulled his quad back in November, probably still coming back from that. He may be faster than a 4.67, honestly, at his best. I think so. Because we saw him run after, I think it was Jeremiah Cobb in week 4 against Auburn. We saw him track that boy down. But I think RMT has potential to be late first round, early second round. I grew up a Denver Broncos fan. My dad and I are talking about it. We're like, what we would give to see R. Mason Thomas opposite Nick Benito. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that there. I think it would be what, 30? Or close to that, late 20s, early 30s, wherever the Broncos pick is. I have to look at the boards again. Then next up is Kendall Daniels, Mr. KD5, put the mask on. KD, he's 6'5", 242. Now, I couldn't at the time looking at it see what his stats were, so we'll actually pull this up again, because when I was looking through it to make notes for this, I could not find any stats on there. Let's take a look, though. Yeah, nothing's listed here on his combine profile. I mean, there's his production score, his athleticism score, and his total scores, prospect grade, and like his physical measurables, but nothing logged in terms of times. So again, expect more at Pro Day. I think KD is going to be a steal for whoever picks him up, which probably not in the first 2 rounds. I could see below 3, maybe 4 or lower. Just with, I mean, maybe. I don't know yet. I want to see him at Pro Day. But, I mean, we've seen him on the field. We know what he can do. We know how smart he is. He is a Swiss Army knife. He can play with his hands in the dirt like a defensive end. He can play linebacker. He can play corner. He can play safety. He can play every single position on defense. That guy is going to be a steal wherever he goes. Then, Owen Heinecke, 6'1.5", 227. Dude looked good. His 40 was a 4.62, a little slower than I thought he'd be able to pull out. His 10-yard split was a 1.62. His vert was 34.5. His broad was a 9.11. His 3-cone was 7.15. But tell you what, the part that I was really impressed by was his footwork in the pedal drill. Back pedal break. That dude, he can dance. Owen Heinecke can dance, dude. That footwork was insane. If you go back and watch it, we have the reel posted on our TikTok, Instagram, and I believe our Twitter as well. Like, dude was going crazy, and you can hear the other linebackers going like, "Ooh, okay, we see you," because dude was rocking with his feet there. That was some of the prettiest footwork in that drill out of anybody. That was amazing. I think Heineke's will not go in the top 3 rounds. Probably I could see 4 or 5, early 4. Maybe late 3, great scenario. I'm sure he will participate at Pro Day again. Just put more out there for scouts that want to drop in. But Owen also, like Kendall Daniels, will be a steal in the draft. He may be a little small at 6'1.5" and then at a little under 230. But if you can beef him up without overloading his frame, dude's going to be a freak. Kid does not know what quit means. Now, another one that I'm excited about, safety Robert Spears-Jennings, 6'2", 205. Ran a 4.32, the second among safeties, and it was the fastest 40 by a safety over 6 foot and 200 pounds since 2003. So since I was born, probably since RJ was born, now that I think about it, because that was just great, man. Watching that was amazing. His big, long strides with how long-legged he is, I honestly didn't know if he was going to be all that fast because from what I've seen, like, yes, I know he's fast, but I've never seen him really turn on the burners and go, which actually, now that you think about it, the less you hear a DB's name, the better because they're not getting beat. But, yeah, RJ did great with his 4.32. His 10-yard was a 1.51, which was third among safeties. His vert was a 35. His broad jump was a 10.5, or 10.5, not 10.5, which would be 10-6. His shuttle was a 4.43, which was third among safeties. Real proud of you, RJ. Mad respect, mad props. You showed out, buddy. You prepped and you did the work. You got it done, man. Then Jaren Kanak, Mr. Burgerback himself over at tight end, 6'2", 234. His 40 was a 4.52. He set the bar high pretty early. When he went, he actually set the bar. But it ended up being fourth among tight ends in the 40. Ended up at second in the 10-yard split at 1.61. His vert was a 36, and that was fifth among tight ends. And then his broad jump was a 9.5, so 9 foot 6 inches. And his bench was 24 reps. And actually, someone got in my comments. I forget where it was. It may have been Instagram. Someone got in my comments and said, man's been on them jugs. And I'm sitting there thinking, and I replied, like a baby on milk with a question mark? Yeah. Jared Kanak did great transforming from a linebacker to a tight end this year. And I could see him in a fullback kind of spot to kind of an odd little tight end slot receiver hybrid type thing or a special teams dog. There will be a place for Jared Kanak somewhere. And he will be just fine. He will do really well. Now then, Deion Burks, wide receiver, 5'10", 180. Wow. So, Deion cooked, man. His 40 was a 4.3, so third among receivers. His 10-yard split was a 1.49, which was second. His vert was a 42.5, first among receivers. His broad was a 10.11, fifth. And then his bench was 26, which was first among wide receivers. So he benched 225, 26 reps. Whoa. Talk about tiny but mighty. You know, I've loved Deion Burks since the day he transferred. So my cousin actually went to Purdue a long time ago. He's much older than I am. But when Deion Burks transferred to Oklahoma, he called me and said, ooh, you're getting a stud here. Now, do the stat sheet necessarily suggest that he was the ultimate stud of all time or like the best wide receiver that Oklahoma's had in the 2 seasons he was here? Objectively, no, because when you look at his stats, and yes, I just pulled these up, 2024 with his limited playing time, he had 245 yards and 3 touchdowns. Then 2025, in 13 games, he had 620 yards and 4 touchdowns. And then looking at his game log actually from 2024, let's take a look at this. Because he did not play the whole season. He played in 5 games in 2024. So was he the most productive guy? No. But when opportunities were afforded to him, he showed out. Michigan, he played amazingly. Against LSU, he caught that tunnel screen for the touchdown to get us back in the game. And then he had a bunch of big catches against Alabama in the playoffs or playoff game. So Deion Burks killed it. Love that guy. Love his stick to it. Yeah. Dude showed out and dude dominated. Just stole the show. He earned a bag on Saturday. Now, the last combine sooner that we'll talk about, Fabechi Wewu, at offensive guard / center, because he played at both this year, interior offensive line, 6'3", 293, former walk-on, Burlsworth Trophy finalist for walk-ons. Didn't do everything. I, again, expect to see more at Pro Day next Thursday. But his vert was a 24.5. His broad was an 8.9. Three-cone was a 7.8. And his shuttle was a 4.73. So overall, not bad, not great by any means. Not going to be the most athletic guy on the field. But, I still think it's possible. He was second team All-SEC in 2025 and our best offensive lineman the last 2 years. So I think Fabechi will do just fine. We'll see where I think he'll go after Pro Day. But ultimately, this combine class made one thing very clear, because a lot of them, like Jared Kanik, is undersized for a tight end. Deion Burks is a little small for a wide receiver. Fabechi is not your standard offensive lineman, particularly being a walk-on and not being like the most technically not a technician, just really good at what he does. Gracen Halton, a little on the slight side. R. Mason Thomas, undersized for defensive end. Owen Heinecke, a little small. But when you look at all these guys, when you think about it, it's a little bit like an island of misfit toys in terms of they are on the smaller side. But the performances from all of them are a great new set of data points for recruits to think about. Put it this way. If you come to Oklahoma as a freshman and you work your butt off and you become the best player you can possibly be, and if that best version of yourself is superior to those around you, and you are open to being coached and developed, and you're dedicated, you're tough, and you stick with it, the grind mentality, the hard to kill mindset that this coaching staff loves. If you buy into that and you do your job and you're good on the field, you will get opportunities to play. And if you allow yourself to be coached and developed, you will become an elite player. And you will have doors, like an invite to the NFL Scouting Combine, opened for you. And if you apply that same mentality that you adopt at OU to not just prepping for the draft, but carry it through into your professional career, you will get opportunities. You will get paid. You will have a roof over your head. You will have a program to play for. Now, the next data point is, where do these guys go? Where do these guys go come late April? How high and what programs do they go to? And how do they perform when they get to the league as well? If these 10 guys get drafted and perform well in the league, recruits are going to look at this coaching staff and say, you made these guys great. Go make me great. So I'm really excited about the prospect of that. And next year's draft class is going to be fun too. Isaiah Satania, Kip Lewis, probably PJ Adebawore, probably Taylor Wine, probably Jaden Jackson, David Stone, Peyton Bowen, maybe Eli Bowen, John Mateer, maybe Xavier Robinson. Hayden Hanson's going to go. Rocky Beers is probably going to go too. Haven't seen them play in Norman yet, but if we can stack really solid draft classes on top of each other, OU recruiting will do just fine. And transfer portal will get better. And with the way that this staff is operating, that's all going to be huge. And you know what? Speaking of our beloved front office, let's move over here to some recruiting momentum, because this stuff's getting wild. So, spring ball is about to start. It is trending for the junior weeks or junior weekends. Oklahoma has their Future Freaks Junior Day this upcoming weekend. I believe it's this Saturday. And the attendance list is off the charts. At bare minimum, 4 Rivals Top 100 kids, maybe 6 will be in attendance. And the only 2 that might not show up are 5-star offensive tackle Cooper Hackett, already committed to Oklahoma, and 4-star cornerback at a Mustang, Gabe Osborne. And that is only because it depends on their basketball schedules, because they're in the postseason. They're both Oklahoma kids. They're both in the state playoffs. So it depends on what those basketball games are looking like. So possibly top 6, top 100 recruits. 2 are already committed in Cooper Hackett, as I said, and then 4-star offensive tackle Caden Penny. out of Bixby. And then Cooper Hackett's out of Fort Gibson. But this attendance list is insane. Let's go down this roster of future seniors that are coming in. So 4-star tight end, Seneca Driver, number 1 tight end in the nation, number 8 overall, according to Rivals. He's 6'6", 240 out of Boyles County, goes Boyles County High School in Danville, Kentucky, excuse me. Jason Witten's been pushing hard on this since he was hired. His first call after getting the job at Oklahoma was Seneca Driver, and he's pushing hard. Oklahoma's in the mix. Kentucky is leading right now, I believe, because close to home, but getting coached by Jason Witten in a Ben Arbuckle offense with a good quarterback and the best offensive line that they will have had in years. Probably not going to play a whole lot because you've got Jack Van Dorselaer, Rocky Beers, Hayden Hansen ahead of him, and Trinae Washington back there as well. But we're going to have Arbuckle at least a year in 2027, probably Jason Witten as well. Hopefully can keep them longer and keep that offensive momentum together, have them come in with Bo Bentley. You never know what's going to happen. So would love to see Seneca Driver lock in a commit to Oklahoma. Now, of course, it's still the 1st of March. But I think that Oklahoma is going to push hard for this one. Then, of course, Caden Penny, who we've talked about before, offensive tackle, 4-star out of Bixby, Oklahoma. He's 6'4", 265. Number 20 overall recruit. Number 4 offensive tackle. Huge. I believe Cooper Hackett and Caden Penny, out of the top 10 offensive linemen, they're the only 2 that are committed anywhere right now. And there was a graphic somewhere on social media. I forget who posted it. But it's the top 10 offensive linemen in the 2027 class and where they're going. So it's literally just 10 kids. Only 2 are committed, and the only places they're committed to are Oklahoma. So it's nice seeing only Oklahoma on there. I got a kick out of that. But Caden Penny is great. He's a great peer recruiter along with Cooper Hackett. Then the next one that we have on the list, 4-star athlete / safety is what Oklahoma's looking to play him at. So he's Bodie Sparrow. Davis High School in Kaysville, Utah. Absolute unit. And I have his weight marked down wrong here. What have I done? What a travesty. So he is 6'2", 195. And Oklahoma likes him at safety. He's played a bit receiver as well. He's the number 55 overall recruit in the class, the number 2 athlete. Again, Oklahoma likes him at safety. And he's good friends with Crew Jones, which, let's see. Where is Crew Jones at school right now? I should know this off the top of my head. I believe he goes to Orem. Okay. But they're both living in the same area. They're both out there in Utah. Crew Jones is pushing hard for him. Crew Jones is already committed, and he is also attending. We'll get to him in a minute. But Bodie Sparrow for Brandon Hall in the safety room would be a really nice get. Bodie Sparrow's a dude. And especially with the Samaj Stanford recruit kind of drying out for Oklahoma, like, even if you could get both, don't take both. That is way too much money to where, like, you don't need both of them right now to where you need to go buy both of them. Or go incentivize both of them, I should say. Next on the list is Juju Johnson, 4-star corner, 5'10", 160 out of Long Beach, California, goes to Long Beach Poly High. He's the number 99 overall. He's number 13 in the class at corner. Absolute stud. Would love to get him because right now you've got Mikhail McCreary and Michael Davis in terms of corner commits. You're probably going to get Gabe Osborne. You're in a good spot with Juju Johnson. And then Trenton Blaylock showed out at track in this last week. Really freaking fast. And then also Derek Johnson, true freshman at Oklahoma this coming fall, out of Murrieta Valley, California. His younger brother, Darius. Oklahoma's got 6 really solid options at corner, and I think they will take corner fairly heavily this cycle because right now you've got Eli Bowen, Cortland Guillory, Tristan Haynes, Jeremiah Newcomb, and Jacoby Johnson. After 2026, you say goodbye probably to Eli Bowen. You say goodbye to Jacoby Johnson for sure. Then you've got Cortland Guillory and Jeremiah Newcomb for probably another year, and then they're gone after 2027, which leaves you with Tristan Haynes, and that's all you got right now. Well, you've got Derek Johnson, but he was the lone corner they took and LeBron Bauer, who they added on the February signing day. So that leaves you with 3. getting a lot of depth and elite depth at that, because all 6 of these guys are really great options, would behoove this staff to go heavy on corners. So yeah, Juju Johnson, really excited about that. Next is Taven Epps at linebacker, 4-star. He's 6'4", 235 out of Tustin, California. Tustin High. He's number 216 overall, 19th linebacker. He committed recently down at I think it was the Navy Pro Bowl game for high school kids. Performed really well. Could play at edge. There's been a lot of talk about that. He feels more natural at linebacker, so if that's where he's at, let him play linebacker. Love the way he moves. Would fit really well with Nate Dreiling and Wes Goodwin and Brett Venables. Loves the mental aspect of the game. So really excited about that there. Jalen Scott, 4-star safety, 6 foot, 160 out of Williamson High School in Mobile, Alabama. Friends with Jamison Roberts, who we've talked about a little bit, 4-star quarterback from, I believe it's, let's see, where is he specifically in Alabama? He's also in Mobile at Saraland High. Both Jamison Roberts and Jalen Scott are childhood friends, former teammates. And they've been talking back and forth on Twitter, just like, man, would love to play with you again. Ooh, this could be exciting. So I bet you will bag Jalen Scott and Jamison Roberts. Oklahoma solidly in the lead for Jamison Roberts. So now he's not attending this Future Freaks Saturday, this upcoming week. So, but you're getting Jalen Scott in again, number 27 overall safety. He's a 4-star. Would love to get that to complement with Bodie Sparrow. Then at corner, you've got Mikhail McCreary, which we've talked about before here, especially back in our signing day update back in December. 4-star corner, 6'1", or no, that was for the 26 class. I'm a buffoon, but we have talked about Mikhail McCreary before. But 4-star corner, 6'1", 170. Johnson High School in San Antonio, Texas. He's number 285 and the 37th corner in the 2027 class. So that does it for the top 300 kids that we have. The remaining guys that are attending for certain are out of that top 300. You've got wide receiver Trayvon Hall, 3-star out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Central High School. He's 6 foot 180. He's the 24th wide receiver in the class. He committed quite a while ago. Would love to keep him. He's getting a little bit more attention from Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll see where that comes in later down the line. Cedric Marsh was one that I hadn't heard before looking at the official visiting list. He's a 3-star edge out of Waxahachie, Texas, 6'4", 230. He's the 45th defensive end in the class. Wouldn't be a bad pickup, I guess. I need to see a little bit more from it, though, so I'll be paying attention to what's going on at the Future Freaks this weekend. Devin Robertson at defensive tackle. He committed back same time as Taven Epps at the Navy All-American Bowl. 3-star defensive tackle, 6'1". He's 320 from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Oak Grove High School. He's the 45th defensive tackle. I think I saw somewhere that he's being compared a bit to like a baby Gracen Halton coming out in 2022. If that's the case, I like what we're thinking. I like what the future could possibly hold for that. And then 2 more definite visitors on this list. Crew Jones, who I mentioned a moment ago when talking about Bodie Sparrow, 3-star defensive end. He's 6'4", 225 out of Orem High School in Orem, Utah. Dude's a monster. Dude's a freak. He will come back up into the 4-star rankings, I would imagine, by the time the final rankings come out in December. But he's the number 47 defensive end in the class. I think he's got more than that. Absolutely. And our final confirmed visitors for the time being here Monday morning, Tyson Ross, 3-star offensive tackle out of Andover High, Andover, Kansas. He's 6'5", 290. Tyson Ross and then Gus Corsair out of Hayes, Kansas. Those two, they're being recruited pretty dang hard by the staff right now because, of course, you've got Caden Penny, Cooper Hackett. You've got Luke Wilson out of South Lake Carroll. And that's 5. And I think they're in the running for, I think, a 6th offensive tackle. Let's check the recruiting board that we have, actually. Let's see here. Let's see. For offensive tackles, you've got Hackett, Penny. You've got Luke Wilson at interior. Brian Swanson out of Sauk, South Oak Cliff in Texas. He's not coming up for this trip, I believe, but OU's pushing hard. They're getting on him a little bit more. And then let's see if there are any more offensive linemen. As of right now, that's what they're looking at O-line. But Tyson Ross, Gus Corsair, and Brian Swanson, you're looking at getting a 6-man O-line class, and they're all pretty dang solid. I'd be happy with that. Heavy on corner and heavy on offensive line, 100%. And then, of course, you've got a couple more visit weekends down the line. There's a weekend in May, late May, the last weekend, the 29th through the 31st. You've got plenty of current commits coming. Taven Epps, Crew Jones, Devin Robertson. Bodie Sparrow is also logged for that, even though he's not committed yet. And then two other guys that are coming for that visit, Elijah Harmon, 4-star defensive tackle, already committed, 6'3", 300 out of Inglewood, California. He's number 283 overall, the 30th DT in the class. Love him, excited about him. Then you've got Keldred Ben, 4-star running back. He's 5'10", 210 out of Montgomery, Texas. And he's the number 86 overall and the number 5 running back. But let's talk about that evaluation for a minute. Because how good does this make the front office look? Because when Oklahoma offered him in November of 2025, he committed on the spot, and his only other offers were UTSA and McNeese. Now he's a top 100 recruit, 5th running back in the class. And Oklahoma already had him locked in. Jim Nagy and Stacy Ford, you dogs. You freaking dogs. You are amazing. You found him, you got him, and you locked him in. Thank you to DeMarco Murray for setting that up as well. And he's recently said, Keldred Ben has said, yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Love to see it. And couple that with Dylan McCullough at running backs coach, now that DeMarco Murray left for Kansas City. I'm excited. Guys, let me tell you. This evaluation staff, this front office is amazing. The evaluation was nuts to find this gem when no one else was looking. And now see where he's come up in the recruiting rankings is insane. If they keep doing stuff like this, finding hidden gems and getting them early, Oklahoma recruiting is going to be fun the next couple of years. And then, of course, the next big visit weekend, you've got the Champ U Barbecue, which is mid-June, the 12th through the 14th. You've already got plenty of commits logged to come up for that. Cooper Hackett, Mikhail McCreary, Trayvon Hall. Juju Johnson is set to come up for that. I honestly would love to see him commit in the End of Future Freaks this weekend. Then you've also got Luke Wilson, who we talked about briefly a moment ago. We'll break him down a bit. 3-star interior offensive lineman, 6'6". He's 290 out of Southlake Carroll High in Southlake, Texas. So like the DFW area. And he's the number 31 interior offensive lineman. He's committed. He's coming up for Champ U. And then Graydon Howell, Broken Bow, Oklahoma's own Graydon Howell, 4-star athlete that OU loves at wide receiver. He's 5'11", 170. He's the number 10 athlete in the 2027 class. He's set to come up for Champ U Barbecue. Ultimately, the recruiting outlook here looks amazing. We have so much to be excited about. Oklahoma has the capacity to be in on 5+ 5-stars by the time this class is over and we get to early signing day in December. Out of 32 total 5-stars you can have in a class, Oklahoma is in good position with 5, maybe 7 of kids that will end up in that 5-star range. So, when was the last time we could say that Oklahoma is in such a good position with so many kids that are that highly touted and sought after? I can't remember that at all. This recruiting class is looking insane. And they're trending really well. And it's letting the coaches do more of what they are good at, which is coach and putting the team in a better position on Saturdays. But yeah, recruiting is looking great. I'm excited to see how this keeps folding out over the course of this year. Really, 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 really excited. But that being said, Sooner Nation, that is going to wrap it for this edition of the WhackoWeekly Podcast, where we're breaking down all things OU football from this previous week. If this was your first time joining us, we hope you enjoyed it. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. For lovers of the Wacko Loop, I'm sure they hope you enjoy it, or I hope they hope you enjoyed it. But be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell button so you never miss a thing. We'd love to have you. Plus, you can follow us on all of our socials, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, all at Wacko Sooners for more live news updates, game highlights, and of course some memes to keep it lighthearted and fun, like we like it here in Sooner Nation. Go hit those follows so you're always in the Wacko loop. With that being said, guys, happy Monday. Have a great week. Boomer Sooner.